Good afternoon. This is Vishak, and I take care of pre-sales at Facilio. And this is just going to be a quick 10-minute introduction and demo of the Facilio platform and how it can impact the operations and maintenance of the portfolio of properties that your organization manages. What you can take a look at here is the platform itself and the architecture, and this is broken down into three main layers. The bottom layer here is the data aggregation piece, where we're interfacing with the various assets within the building in the various automation systems. So this could be the HVAC systems connected to a BMS. There might be disparate systems, which could include the fire safety, access control systems, and so on. There might also be IoT sensors present within the buildings for use cases like air quality monitoring, people counting, and so on. So all this can also send data to the cloud. And the advantage here is that Facilio is completely hardware and vendor agnostic, so we can interface with any make and model of hardware that is currently installed within the building. And this is all then sending data to the Facilio platform itself. And we can install the platform within any environment. So traditionally it is provided as a AWS hosting, but it can also be in your own private cloud or an on-premise hosting, right? And we leverage all these platform level capabilities that you see here to provide all these various end solutions. And the platform itself is again modular, so you can take it as an a la carte menu, and exactly what you want, we can customize that for you. And this is across the gambit of operations and maintenance solutions that you might be looking for, ranging from improving sustainability operations within the buildings to providing applications for the tenants and occupants for them to raise and track service tickets, understand the actual energy consumption within the buildings, understand maintenance KPIs, invite visitors, control assets within the buildings, as well as providing applications to the actual technicians who are operating and maintaining the assets and maintaining the building itself. So we have integrated facilities management, asset management, and so on. So what I'll do now is I'll quickly switch over to the platform itself. So what we're taking a look at right now is the Facilio platform and specifically the sustainability dashboards. And the first step to start using the platform is to actually create a digital replica of the actual buildings, the spaces that they have, and so on. So what you can see here is within space management, we have a list of sites. These are earmarked across the various locations here in the map. And for each site, we're able to capture the buildings that it has, and within each building, understand the actual floors, space information, and so on. So for each building, we're able to also get a quick high-level summary as to what is happening in terms of number of open activities, currently ongoing active alarms, as well as the current number of assets within this building, as well as the current active energy consumption as well. And if there is a 3D model of the building available, we can also visualize that and use that to track the actual maintenance activities. So you can see here that we have a 2D file which is giving us information as to the temperature, the humidity, lighting systems, and so on. So I can zoom in, zoom out. I can change the temperature set point as well by interacting with this. And if there is a 3D model, we can also, for example, open up the BIM model of that particular building and understand exactly what is happening. So here you can see that we have the BIM model opened up. I can open up, let us say, a particular asset here. And this is going to load up the readings for that asset, give us information as to the active alarms and the real-time open activities. So this is going to give insight to that operations building manager for him to just take a look at the BIM model, understand various areas that are undergoing maintenance activities, various assets that are undergoing downtime, so he can focus his attention and he knows where to focus his attention. Right, so this is also available. So this is with regards to space digitization, space management. So the next step was to actually start onboarding the list of assets within these buildings and start understanding asset health and asset performance. So that takes me to asset management, right? So this is a list of all the assets within the building itself. And for each asset, we're able to keep a track of everything from costs associated to maintenance to the end-to-end summary of the actual asset itself. So the advantage here is that traditionally, reading data might be within the BMS system, maintenance data might be within a separate maintenance management software. There might be a separate software for the actual financial data that might be an ERP system that you might be currently using, right? So, but within Facilio, all this data is available in a single page, neatly laid out, easy to understand. So this really helps you and your team to make those decisions in terms of replacing a particular asset to increase asset health, or replacing that asset entirely if the costs associated don't make sense. So everything from the most common faults to the currently ongoing active one is available. Mean time between failure, mean time to repair metrics are shown. We are also able to digitize information with regards to the asset, capture notes and documentation, as well as understand current active performance in terms of failure rate, time to repair, the currently ongoing active faults, and the expected life remaining for this asset. Everything is captured. So this really gives that holistic summary, holistic view of that asset. So the next step is to deep dive further into understanding how we're able to um, understand the actual faults occurring within this asset, and that takes us to fault detection and diagnostics. So this is a comprehensive list of faults that we have detected across the portfolio of buildings that this particular account is connected to. And the advantage here is that Facilio operates at enterprise scale. In the sense, across all the buildings connected to the platform, rules can be deployed in a couple of clicks without the need for them to be deployed at a building level. Right? So if I jump into the rules list here, so we have a library of custom rules which you can directly apply. So if there are, let us say, 50 buildings connected to Facilio, this rule can be applied across all those 50 buildings without the need for it to be configured at a building level. So that really makes it very agile to start deploying these rules at scale. And the actual rules can also be created within the very Facilio platform very easily. So we can define variables, associate each variable for a particular reading. It can be an asset reading, space reading. So it can be, let us say, VFD command, VFD feedback of that particular asset. It can be IoT. Let's say there might be temperature, there might be humidity. All these provided as IoT sensors for that particular space. So all this is also available. So all this can be sending data to the platform, and we can define simple, easy to use FTD rules and a simple Boolean expression for it to start detecting that particular fault. And we don't just stop here, we are also able to understand what is the root cause of this fault and what is the reason for this fault. For example, here we have detected there is overcooling in a certain space, and then we're able to understand that the reason for that fault is the fact that the cooling coil valve is leaking. So this information can also be sent to the technicians on the field so that they can go rectify this fault quickly. And within this particular insight tab, we're able to capture the excess cost associated with this fault as well in terms of energy impact, right? And you might be wondering how much time it's going to take for Facilio to be stood up, for it to be deployed. And that's again something that really makes Facilio stand apart, is that it's a lot of this onboarding and implementation is automated. So it takes very little time for us to connect to the various assets within the platform and set up the various real-time data points coming in. And so the whole process is very, very streamlined, very, very easy to do. And the entire process is also automated. And that really makes Facilio stand apart. And if I jump open into the energy and sustainability side of things, right? So over here we've understood the ways we can improve asset performance, understand the actual energy consumption of that asset, understand various ways we can save energy. And the next step would be to implement those strategies and start talking about portfolio-wide benchmarking. And that is where Energy Star comes into play. So we can use Energy Star to compare the performance of the various buildings within the portfolio across other similarly sized buildings around the world. And we can then implement various energy conservation strategies using MNV as a module within Facilio as well. So finding areas to save, implementing energy conservation measures, ranging from hardware retrofits to soft retrofits. We can start comparing the actual performance and start tracking the actual return on investment, and then using Energy Star to then actually benchmark the sustainability of the buildings itself. So all this is around understanding asset management, improving asset performance, tracking asset health, and then also talking about overall building performance in terms of sustainability operations, benchmarking the actual building, and so on, right? So the next step is also to then track that work order till resolution once the fault has been detected, and that is also managed within Facilio. So if I jump open a particular work order, so you can see here that within the summary page, we're able to capture the actual comments that the technician might add, any attachments. Let's say he's noticing a water leak, that can be added as an attachment. Within the safety plan, we're able to track and map the hazards and precautions in terms of working on this. Within the tasks, we can capture every single task that the technician has to perform. Items and labor really captures the cost associated with each and every activity. And this is all for both planned, unplanned tasks, and it can also be for condition and predictive based maintenance. The entire work order cycle can be managed within Facilio as well. So I hope this has given you some clarity in terms of how Facilio can help streamline operations and maintenance across the portfolio, and how Facilio is different in the way that it is very easy to deploy, easy to stand up, flexible in hosting, and it can really uh, improve overall operations and maintenance. So please reach out to us in the Facilio booth to learn more